Hello, happy believers. This painting I've called Fearlessness, and it depicts St. Joseph. As after reading about St. Joseph in the Gospels, I think this word sums him up. So let's look at what the Gospels say about Joseph. No words of Joseph were written in the Gospels, and very little is recorded about his life. St. Joseph's special role has been husband to the Blessed Virgin Mary and been foster father/stepfather to Jesus Christ. The Incarnation is our central Christian doctrine, that God became flesh, that God assumed a human nature and became a man in the form of Jesus Christ because of Mary's yes and St. Joseph's obedience to the angel who appeared to him. It says in John chapter 1, verse 14, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe and share. In Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 to 25, this is how the birth of Jesus came about. His mother Mary was pledged in marriage to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be with child through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was a righteous man and unwilling to disgrace her publicly, he resolved to divorce her quietly. But after he had pondered these things, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to embrace Mary as your wife, for the one conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 7, verses 13 to 14. "I then, Isaiah, said, 'Hear now, O house of David, is it not enough to try the patience of men? Will you try the patience of my God as well? Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin will be with child, and will give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us." When Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord had commanded him, and embraced Mary as his wife. But he had no union with her until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. Reflection. This is a very human story, and a difficult one, where Joseph discovered that his girlfriend Mary was pregnant before he had married her, and he knew he was not the father of her child. This was a terrible predicament for Joseph to be in, and Mary saying it was through the Holy Spirit that she became pregnant. Joseph must have found himself to be in an unbelievable situation, and one he could never have dreamed of happening, and full of emotions trying to deal with the situation. In Matthew chapter 1, verse 19, it says, "Joseph was a just man, and even though there was a lot going on, he still wanted to do right by Mary." There would also have been the pressure from the community where they lived, and Mary's situation could result in stoning her to death. It was a very serious situation they found themselves in. Mary knew the truth of the situation, But Joseph was only going by what Mary was telling him, and it sounded unbelievable, and he was struggling with it. But after he had pondered these things, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to embrace Mary as your wife, for the one conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. It was only after this that Joseph believed the whole story, and his confidence returned, and he was fearless in his mission, looking after his family. The birth of Jesus, Luke chapter 2, 4-7. So Joseph also went up from Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, since he was from the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to him in marriage, and was expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for Mary to give birth. And she gave birth to her first son, Jesus, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. Reflection. Joseph had the sole responsibility of Mary and Jesus as they travelled from Nazareth to Bethlehem, roughly about 90 miles. Mary rode on a donkey, heavily pregnant, and finding no room anywhere, they had to go to a stable where the animals were kept. The Christmas story says that Jesus was born in a stable in Bethlehem and was laid in a manger. Joseph showed fearlessness again, how he looked after Mary and Jesus, and how he was a wonderful protector and provided for them both, even in their basic needs. Then the flight into Egypt, Matthew chapter 2, 13-15. When the Magi had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. So he got up, took the child and his mother by night, and withdrew to Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. This fulfilled what the Lord had spoken through the prophet Hosea 11, verse 1. Out of Egypt I called my son. Reflection. Again, Joseph shows fearlessness and how he responded immediately to the angel's request, also knowing that Herod was searching for Jesus to kill him. What a predicament and danger they were all in, and again Joseph doing everything to protect Mary and Jesus. Leaving immediately, not doubting, just being obedient to what was asked of him. No wonder he is the overseer and protector of the Catholic Church. It definitely is in good hands. Here are two other times Joseph is mentioned. John chapter 1, verses 43-45. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him, of whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." John chapter 6, verses 41-42. So the Jews grumbled about him, Jesus, because he said, "I am the bread that came down from heaven. They said, "Is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How does he now say, 'I have come down from heaven'?" The verses show how Jesus was known as Joseph's son, not stepson or foster son, but a true father, as he cared for Jesus as if he was his natural son. For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. This verse is so true of Joseph, and Joseph is a true example as we can see how he put into practice in his own life. Please like, subscribe and share so we can all live our wonderful Catholic faith in all its richness. Next painting very, very soon. Watch this space. Until then, remember, no fear.